Wales v England obviously have their troubles, still going through their troubles, Wales, but we do have a match, which is great. And hopefully next week, all the contracts and all those situations are sorted. Seems to be a lot more to it, obviously, as we know. But there is a game, and I don't know how much preparation they've done, but it's going to be a big afternoon for them.
Yeah, very interesting. He's recalled the old trips, which I always thought he would. I think I'm talking about Gatland there with Wales. You know, Alan Wynne-Jones come back, Faletau's back, Tupirik's back. Interesting. He's dropped bigger to the bench and brought a Williams, one of a whole lot of them in that team up to start. Owen Williams. I actually think that was always part of his plan. He's not Alan Wynne-Jones and these guys are not going to play every game between now and the World Cup. They're going to play selected games, give them a break, their bodies to recover. And there were some injuries in there as well. I think Tupirik went off with an injury against Ireland in round one. But look, it's a change back row. Richardson there is in with Tupirik and Faletau. He's brought a young guy, Mason Grady, uncapped into the centres. But this is still the question is not even the players at the moment. It's the whole Welsh environment that's the problem. Obviously, the massive problems culturally within the Welsh Rugby Union, the financial problems, the contractual problems with the players, the stress that it's putting on the players, the distraction it puts on the players. Then you get to the team and their attack is a reflection of their nation at the moment. It's a mess. It's not connected. It's not doing anything that's creative and that's making progress. Alan and Dave called the brilliantly as always the Scotland-Wales game, and how they made that first half sound exciting must have been a challenge. It was horrific. It was horrific. And we were sitting, I got to say, Al,
we'll take your bias.
Thank God we've only got 10 minutes at half time. We don't have to talk about it. You did. Yeah, the second half.
I take your bias compliment there, Matt. Thank you.
It was a compliment. It was a compliment, mate.
It's a biased one, though, because we're all into one team, so thank you.
It was a compliment. It wasn't an exciting first half. Scotland were exciting in the second half. They played some great rugby, but Wales continued to be totally inaccurate. Look, there are miracles in rugby. There are days teams stand up and, for whatever reason, overcome great odds. This is not a great England team. They are not playing great rugby. But I can't see a way Wales can win this. There has to be, unless there's cards involved. It's sad. It's not a pleasant thing to talk about because I have great respect for Welsh rugby, but there's nothing about the whole system there that gives you anything but sadness is what I feel for it at the moment.
Yeah, it is pretty sad. Alan, Ken Owens saying they're the laughing stock of rugby and things need to change.
Yeah, and I have a great deal of respect for Ken Owens. I think he's very forthright in what he says, and he's honest, and he's like that as a player. He's a great fella, a really, really likeable fella, tough as nails on the field. And they've all struggled with this, I'm sure. It's been a really big distraction and a worry for so many players, not just the international guys, but the other players in the regions who are worried about contracts and their futures. So I think everybody within, rugby, world rugby has been paying attention to this story and really kind of showing empathy and compassion to what's going on because, we're blessed in Ireland here and I experienced it, Matt did as well as a coach, the system here and the support you get from the RFU, it's second to none. Even during the pandemic, the Irish players here, they had to take a pay cut, but obviously a strain on the RFU and for every union, the World Rugby, but because it's a very strong foundation financially and from a systems point of view here in Ireland, it was able to survive that and weather the storm and generate funds again and keep sponsors on board and all that kind of stuff. So it's very, very multi-layered and Wales, this has been going on for a long time in Wales, uncertainty, financial issues, and you just don't have a magic wand that you can go out and say, well, we're going to generate millions from here, there and everywhere. It takes time, but there's so much history, pride, wonderful kind of joy in Welsh rugby and the history of it, and the amount of wonderful players they produce. They're synonymous with, the Six Nations and Grand Slams and just great history to the place. So it's sad, and I think that's what he feels, Ken Owens, and it has been. If you're in that situation, you feel that it is a bit of a joke that it's come to this, and it shouldn't have come to this. I could never see. Obviously, disputes happen, and probably the only dispute I can remember in my career of being with Ireland was probably match fees and just trying to agree match fees. We'd always have a representative, some of the senior players who would speak with the union, work with them. A little bit unsettling when Rugby Players Ireland started off, and there was uncertainty about the collaboration between the two. But all those things were just minor little bumps, and they got sorted out pretty quickly. There was no dirty laundry in public. This, you feel, has just kind of washed itself out in public, and it's been very upsetting for everybody. And none of us who love the game of rugby have enjoyed seeing any of this, because, as I said before, I have many great friends in Welsh rugby, and I had great tussles and matches against Wales and against all the regions there as well. So thankfully, the match goes ahead, and there is an agreement in place, I believe. Hopefully, there still possibly could be doubts about their next match, whether they'll play or not. But an agreement in place is helpful, and that the players have decided to go out and play. The catastrophic effect, and we said it last week, of no match going ahead is millions and millions and millions of pounds that would be lost in revenue. So at least they're in a better position now that they get the game to go ahead. What would be kind of an incredible scenario here for Wales is if they were to win the game. I think the Welsh public and Welsh fans must be exhausted and really deflated by the whole saga as well. So no one better to come to town than England, and their performances and results in recent years against England have been very strong and very good. So we're going to be there, and I'm sure the atmosphere is going to be incredible. But they've still got to go out and perform. He's gone back for some experience again in Tipuric and Faletau and Alan Wynne-Jones. Halfpenny back is a boost for him, and he's still mixing and matching as well, with some young guys getting experience. So even though all the doom and gloom is there, and even though they had two bad results in the first two games, there's guys getting exposed here, and I think they're very good players. Mason Grady's a very good player as well. He's over 17 stone. He's 6'4" or 5. He's a bit of a specimen, really, and Joe Hawkins, another good player. Jack Morgan, these guys, Tommy Raffel, young players that have come through. Jenkins in the second row, Shunza. So they could end up at the end of the Six Nations with 6 or 7 guys who are 21, 22, who've got exposure, and I think they have a big future, those guys in international rugby. So it's been a tough time for them, but glad that the game is going ahead, and England beware, because the place will be rocking on Saturday.
Yeah,
definitely will be rocking. What a place it is to go and play rugby.